Hi all, it's Larry Goddard, Test Automation Architect at Oxford University Press. I'm the creator of klassi-js. Um, I'm a published author. I am ethical and responsible AI advocate. I'm a mentor, know developers, some open source contribution and things of the nature. Um, Today I'm going to talk to you about AI and machine learning and test automation. Because it's just now where we are in the space today, everything, no matter how you turn, everything is about AI. Everything is about AI. So I tell myself one of these days, I need to, become an AI. So you never know. Watch the space. It might just happen over the years. All right. So as I say, today we're going to talk about AI and machine learning and test automation. Because at the moment it is revolutionizing software testing with intelligence. And for that, because when you look at what test automation is, it's about repetitive testing, with some human interaction, so we get to save time and reduce errors. But when the integration of AI and machine learning, it takes that a little further, and I guess it makes the system smarter because AI, especially when it comes to machine learning, you could learn, adapt, and optimize the processes on their own in some instances, and things like that. So without further ado, let's just jump in. I mean, as we know, it is the need. Why is there a need for AI in testing? And it's all about, as we see, it's about the complexity, because now programs coming and application becoming so complex in nature, and that with a lot of challenges, especially to maintain the test scripts on them, and also to look at the ability to release, have faster release cycles. So the benefits of incorporating into testing, as you can see from a little diagram, we wouldn't go through all of it, but you can see it's swift testing. It can improve the testing scope. It can do visualization in it. You could launch in small timelines and all these things. Now, when we look at what it is, so as we just to break it down for a bit, AI it will be able to simulate human interaction in machines, and then the ML bit of it is where algorithms, you can teach algorithms, and they can learn from the data and improve things over time. All right. So when it's all about, so we're looking at test generation, like we say. So when we look at how we use AI to do exploratory testing, it's really good in the sense that the user behavior is identity, it's risk level, it's high risk areas of the application that, often overlook in manual testing. And due to that, we have the ability to use tools that could enhance that. And in this case, you could auto-generate tests, especially edge test cases that we're not actually going to look at, or we may not even think of at the moment, and things and stuff. So what we need to do is to look at characterizing our test cases based on the risk, and due to that, we can actually have the AI doing that for us, and to speed up the process. And then in terms of test execution, one of the significant benefits of it is self-healing. And it sounds real thing, but once you start to put AI in there, you can get things to self-heal, because you have algorithms that could check for an element, especially, and if you don't find it, they can look for the next closest thing that resembles or to it, and then it thinks, especially, and that is very, very true for when we have UI changes. It can update the scripts automatically for itself in a lot of cases without any kind of human intervention. So intelligence-based testing using ML to determine which tests are most relevant based on the current code change and making the process more efficient. And it could also optimize the test execution by distributing tests across environments in parallel and overall test execution time. Now, that in itself is really good for where we are in the space and what could be done and how efficient it is. And also when we look at when we look at getting about using AI to do defect prediction and to do some analysis of what's going on. So it could do, once we have some kind of AI plugin, we could then use it to predict, on historical data and patterns and helping teams to focus on areas that are more likely to break. Look at we have tools that would analyze the test results, for different patterns on why it failed and what caused any failure. So it could accelerate the root cause of all these failures, so identify where the possible break is in its entirety. Just for an example, AI model could highlight that failure are often linked to a specific module, and that in itself helps us along well. So then we're now able to focus on what is actually needed. So as you can see, we have this whole ML implementation. And when you look at my little diagram there, you see that bit in red, that is box wrong in red. That's where the fault detection comes in. So you have the entire process going on, and then you're looking at where we have ML just looking at, oh my gosh, this failed, why it failed, how many times it failed, and look at reasoning why. And that is what helps the teams to think. So the use of AI stroke ML in it comes all the way down to, as we see, test maintenance. Because normally, traditionally, any one of the terms you want to use, test suites require constant updates, as the application involves. So constantly, as they have a process, we need to look out there and go into it. And then we have these so now with AI powered systems, it can automatically adapt to the testers, and it will look at what changes that becomes into the whole UI of it, and that allows it to do it for itself. We don't have to, no longer would we have to, somebody sitting there and every time they make a UI change have to go through all of it, see why it failed, and then so with AI it does that. Right, and then you're looking at the whole, and it reduces the false positives and the false negatives by continuously learning from previous test execution and improving on the accuracy over time. And that's one of the good things about it. It learns, and we have the ability to train it well. And so once the system is running, and we looking at what it is, we just have this there as a bonus. It's not going to replace us, but it's a really big bonus in what it is what we're doing and how we want it to do. And like I say, it's all continuous learning. So it's every time a test cycle, it goes through a test cycle, it learns. So even if one test failed 4 times, and we talk about the same test here, even if the same test failed 4 times, by the 5th time around, or maybe before, the model will understand and realize, wait a minute, something is wrong here, and it will check to see why, and it will check to see, did this happen before, and why is it happening. So the whole test suite being driven with AI in it becomes more effective. It can become more efficient. It becomes more effective, and it evolves alongside the application. So in terms of, back then when we would be doing a lot of maintenance and we're doing this, and every time something breaks, we need to fix, because we are self-learning now. So it looks at what self-learning is, and it picks up and say, oh my gosh, here we go, this element is broken, or this element is missing. What's the next best thing that will do exactly what I did previously? And that is where a lot of it comes in. Now, the idea here is we have a lot of tools. So the fact that we have a lot of tools to do it, and there are several. I mean, we could just go on and on and on. But just I would say, just to name a few, you have testing, you have Mabel, you have API tools, Source Labs, Lambda tests, and all these are tools that will practically design to enhance all the test automation. It looks at a lot of things. When you look at and what they do, you find the fact that we have all these amount of tools, it breaks things down, because in large corporations, I mean enterprises, corporations and stuff, you have AI-driven test healing, AI-driven self-healing test cases. And what that would do, it would reduce the maintenance of that test pack by approximately over 50%. It can be more, but to be realistic in the sense of things, we'll do think about 50%. So it's allowing the test teams to, instead of looking at, oh, we need to maintain this, they could focus on all more critical tasks at hand. And then you look at it does in big enterprises, but when you look at the smaller guys, these little startups and things, if they could get some AI ML inside the test cycle from the beginning, then you have where the test coverage will be completely optimized to fit everything. So by doing that, it will significantly reduce the time to market by focusing on critical test cases rather than running all the tests and things. So that's one of the good things about it. Now, despite all what we do with AI and ML and everything, we still have to look at the challenges and some of the considerations. And a lot of it, when you think about it, we have to talk about data quality is crucial. Poor data leads to unreliable predictions, which could undermine the whole test automation bit of it. Then you have bias in the ML algorithm that could also skew results, especially if the training data isn't diverse enough, or is fully representation of what it is going on. And you have to remember that the model is only as good as the data that it was fed. So integrating AI tools into existing system and processes, it could be complex. It could be complex, but it could be really simple if we really sit down and think about it and plan how we're going to execute it. And that brings us to where the future lies in it. And the future for it, looking ahead, we see trends, towards automation testing where AI takes control of the entire testing cycle, which is pretty okay in a sense, but we need to still have that whole human bit of it. So just how we see with the algorithms and stuff, so we don't lose that. And, so systems will always continue to improve through continuous learning and real-time adaptation, making them increasingly accurate and more efficient. So some of the trends are we could look at as we see this. So we have AI-driven test automation, we have intelligent test environments, predictive testing, and of course self-healing tests. It will be more tightly integrated into the DevOps pipeline, and ensuring that testing is an automated, continuous part of the development lifecycle. And that is where what it's all about. So in conclusion, what we could say is that we have a lot of things that goes on that we need to take into consideration, and one of it is, of course, enhanced efficiency and adaptability. And because we have the model and it's improved over time, it will optimize the test cases over time, it will maintain it. We have all these self-healing capabilities where it does things. So we're looking at faster and more reliable software releases. Then we have the predictive and the proactive testing. And what that is, as we all know now, is that it's all about how the model could predict potential defects and how we could prioritize testers based on risk and conduct intelligent root cause analysis. And of course, once we do that, we're enabling all the teams to address issues proactively and enhance overall software quality. And then finally, we have future-proofing testing strategies, where with all the integration of AI and ML into the automation cycle, it becomes essential to remain competitive in the sense of how we do things, how quick we could get things done, and things. So because technology evolves, and we could see that it's continue evolving and it's evolving and it's evolving. And by that, once we keep abreast of what is happening, we have even greater integration, with the DevOps pipeline. So you look at how it is in the real world, and look at all the potential for improving on the automation test cycle in itself. So what I like to say is that what we need to do and always understand is that no matter what we use for AI and ML, we still need to have that human interaction so that we could be sure and ensure that the level of testing and how the product look and how we push things out into the market for people, that it is very, very, very concise, and we do our best to keep it, as we say, human, despite the fact that we're talking about AI. So like and just to close, I coined this little phrase, and I think it's adaptive to everything when you think about it. So we say adapt and thrive, for change is life's true constant. And once we keep that in mind, all the whole AI and the ML into test automation becomes simpler and easier. Thank you.